Welcome back. Today we are testing the new Blue Coral Venom from Motiv. If you like what we do, follow us on Facebook, Instagram, YouTube. Don't forget to subscribe and check us out on Patreon. First impressions, the Blue Coral Venom does add something to the lineup despite being close to the Shock. Alright, let's get to brass tacks. I think Motiv is capitalizing on the Venom popularity and success of the Gear core. Nothing wrong with that. We've seen the Gear asymmetric core previously in the Venom recoil. That ball was pretty good as well. At the end of the day, the Venom balls do have a heavier roll but smooth shape in general, so the core tends to feel tumbly and looking to read. It wants to right itself with a low RG. The low diff though ensures that the back end is predictable if not super snappy, and that's just fine. Given that Motiv puts it pretty close to the Venom Shock in the lineup, and most know that ball, it's natural to talk about the Blue Coral Venom in the context of the Shock. So basically you get a slightly longer reaction. You don't get more back end specifically. In fact, I would say the Shock will feel earlier and more back end all at once because of the strong read. The cover adds to the early rolling core, if you will. So yes, I found it a touch cleaner with a fairly similar back end. On the house shot, going direct made the ball look really good. Up the boards just crushed the pins. Then I got into a sort of in-between zone where, leaving some flat 7 pins, the ball's probably a little too strong while I'm rounding it, but once you get past that zone a bit, I'm back in business, so as you get closer to the third arrow. So the ball seems really good, but I will say I didn't immediately feel like a house shot hero with this one. Pocket control was excellent though. Basically, outside the second arrow looked great. Just past the second arrow, the ball strangely felt like too much, and then you got closer to the third arrow and wheel it a bit, and the ball looked great again. Much more beyond that, and I was done. The shape of the pattern really doesn't allow for a good motion from that far in. Inside's basically an oil slick, so you need to bounce to the friction. So even if I wanted to use the fourth arrow, I'd need to float it all the way out to 5 at the break point. That's just a lot of boards to cover with a ball like this. Really nothing surprising, right? I mean, the Blue Coral Venom does the business in a relatively unassuming way, and given how good it looked on the sport shot, which is a little bit of a spoiler here, I think it'll be worth adding a specific review on that. Alright, here are a few shots of me testing the Blue Coral two-handed. Honestly, it wasn't too difficult to use at all. It's capable of high angle if you use lots of axis rotation, which I occasionally overused, as you'll see. I didn't feel like I struggled with length per se. You do see a bit more of a heavy roll the Gear APG core creates. You are reminded that it is a rolly core at times, even with the low diff. Just a quick look at the Venom Shock, you can see that it's a little earlier and smoother, heavier arc. And actually, I should have touched the surface here, so if the surface was fresh, it'd even be more aggressive. Alright, final thoughts. Ultimately, with the Blue Coral Venom, you get a little longer but still controlled reaction with that also slightly asymmetric move when compared to the heavy, rounder arc of the Venom Shock. In terms of arsenal, both balls fit in the mid-control category, so kind of keep introducing this concept here. You can see from the picture where I place them, so there's a decent overlap, yet clear distinction on lane. But look, if you had one slot here, you'd probably have to pick one, so it'll be an interesting choice for folks depending on the reaction they're looking for.